I want to take a bit of time to talk about a show that used to be pretty popular, but isn't really all that talked about these days. Now, Death Note was a very welcomed change of pace in my early high school days. At the time, all the anime I had experienced personally had tendencies to be very upbeat and positive, even if they did have pretty dark and emotional storylines at times. Death Note kinda came in and changed a lot of that, with its dark, melancholic mood, gothic imagery, and the fact that the main character is actually the fucking villain. The show's general plot is really simple. A college student by the name of Light Yagami discovers the journal of a Grim Reaper, dubbed a Death Note, and upon doing so meets a Shinigami named Ryuk, or the world's most avid Gene Simmons cosplayer, as I like to call him. With the Death Note, Light can end a person's life simply by writing their name in its pages. Discovering this dark power, he sets it upon himself to rid the world of all evil and become a god, which means he wants to take over the world. Standing in his way is Interpol, his own father, and a young prodigy known only by the codename L. L is the main hero of the series, well, for part of it, I'll explain later, and while other shonen anime feature literal battles of strength, the fight between Light and L is more of a cerebral one. It has a very Batman Riddler kind of feel to it. It certainly feels like it's trying to create a tense atmosphere whenever the two are on screen. The only issue I have with the battle being more thought-based is that most of the time it comes down to Light predicting that L was going to predict, that Light predicted the fact that L predicted what Light was going to do, which L totally predicted, which in turn fully played into Light's plan. Yeah, that's actually the show's MO. It's very Guyver-esque in that sense. It's a good series with some strong characters, good writing, and a hell of an original score. Just, my god. But like all shows, it does have a major downside. We're going into major spoiler territory here, but I'm assuming you've already watched the series. If you haven't, then I highly advise watching it and then coming back to this video. It's a good series, you will not regret it. But the major issue I have with the series is that, well, okay, midway through it, Light discovers L's name and writes it down in the Death Note, killing him, which, hey, you know, I'm fine with that. That's a good ending. That would be a great way to end the series. Light kills L and Light goes off to rule the world and become that god he knows he wants to be. I'm fine with that. I like that. I think that's a great way to end the series. And it's perfectly in tone with the rest of the series, but the show decided for some reason that it wasn't long enough, despite the fact that its story was already done. The issue is that while L is certainly a good hero, Light isn't as particularly interesting without him. After L's death, it sort of becomes like having the Joker without Batman, and I know this is a very, very unpopular opinion, but the Joker's actually a really boring villain. Without the crazy, super determined vigilante hauling ass after him, he doesn't really have any character other than he's crazy. Light's story is pretty much done halfway through, and the characters they get to replace L also aren't as interesting, or well written, or cool. After that point in the series, the show doesn't become bad, per se, just less interesting. But despite that, I'm still glad I watched the show. It never gets downright bad, it's just that there's a very clear difference in the quality of the writing and plot after that midway point. But hey, you know, as long as I get to hear that bitching intro theme again, I don't care who they introduce into this show. If you want a dark, psychological thriller with some intense mental action going on, then this show's got you covered. This show's your jam. This has been Briefs, the show where I review an anime as quickly as possible and try not to fuck up. And I hope to see you back in the next video, which you probably won't watch because my videos, they don't get big views.